Do you know what is VR? Virtual reality technology is based on the computer technology using various high-tech to form a realistic virtual world so that people in the virtual world have an immersive feeling through realistic and safe simulation effect. VR can provide trainers with immersive effect while allow many high-risk industry training to be carried out in a safe environment.
Why this new trend matters?
This technology can provide a real and immersive training experience which can not only improve distance learning but also surpass on-site training in cost and efficiency, and allowed people to simulate and replace the experience of some dangerous things through virtual things.
Benefit: increase the quantity of training.
Firstly, VR in training can provide a massive quantity of training lectures in order to simulate most of possible occurrences, including daily routine and accident events. By giving access to the massive training resource to the trainee and monitoring his training progress, the training output can be ensured, where the performance of the trainee can be secured, as they are expected to be more experienced in different possible situations.
Make me sure the safety.
Secondly, VR in training can ensure a trainee from a high-risk job to train in a virtual environment. High-risk jobs including electricity mechanic, pilot, or surgery doctor, where a lot of safety concern will be aroused if training in reality. On the other hand, training in VR can avoid the concern, allow trainees to train in an environment in which they can be comfortable with their personal safety, which can also contribute to increase training effectiveness and wellness.
Lower operation cost.
Thirdly, training in VR can reduce costs in different aspects. There are a lot of essential expenses if training in reality, including labor cost for operating the lecture, rent cost for the training center or classroom, other utilities including lunch fee, electricity consumption. Those expenses will not only cost money but also time in operating those training.
Challenge: low adaptation to innovative technology.
Firstly, middle to elderly people are relatively poor in learning new things and have low adaptation to innovative technology. In preference, they might prefer the traditional face-to-face training, or during the VR training section, they may find it confusing and not know how to manipulate the device. Such problem may lead to decrease in incentive of training of certain proportion of labor and reduce training effectiveness.
Difference between virtual and reality.
Secondly, training in virtual environments experience differently with training in reality. There might be a situation where a trainee is performing well in a virtual environment, but perform poorly in reality due to the other factors. Include psychological factors, which are performance of trainee might be affected due to feel nervous when executing the trained content in reality. It might lead to serious consequences when training for a high-risk job.
Relative divide: system is expensive.
Setting up a VR training section is also very costly. Not only hard specifications of VR device are demanded for simulating realistic situation, also it's very time and money costing for creating the lecture in VR format. Training in VR required a massive amount of VR resources, which implied that the time and money required for rendering the VR reusable resource will also be massive amount.
Real-life example.
onboarding maintenance crew that typically work on offshore oil rig. It was costly to fly crew all over in order to learn more effectively, but that's what people did. Oil rig maintenance is a dangerous job because there is a high degree of difficulty and there is a high risk factor for the mechanic. The top reason why oil rig jobs are dangerous is the frequency with which falls occur. Falls tend to be a result of slip due to the water or oil on the deck or equipment, tripping over equipment or hose, a lack of proper guardrail, and improper ladder use, and more. Oil rig job can involve everything from excavation to welding to the handling the dangerous mechanicals, and all out of sea, and the worker may also be exposed at extreme weather conditions in order to stay as safe as possible. Oil rig employees need proper training, proper equipment, and competent co-worker. Providing that those have not been provided can be extremely difficult. Various scenarios can be played out safely and repeatedly for each trainee, hundreds of times if necessary. VR and AR can offer safer training environments for industries such as manufacturing and oil and gas during the pandemic.
Increase investment in the VR training process.
In terms of VR technology, the cost of those technology is high. The company needs to invest a large amount of funding to build them. Therefore, though the validity of the technology is high, it's hard for all the risk industry afford such high cost. So we suggest that all high-risk industry companies to increase their investment in the training process because life above everything.
Hire some profession tutor.
And moreover, it's difficult for the middle to elderly people learn new things. Thus, we hope the high-risk industry company can hire some professional tutor to help them learn how to use VR better. And what's more,
Don't rely too much on VR.
training in virtual environment experience different with training in reality. This reminds us that we should not rely on the virtual environment. We should put our attention more on the real world so that we can have a best performance.